Hello and welcome everybody to another podcast episode. This is Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses to come on and talk about what they are doing in the community. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yes, and we have a great episode today. We are so happy to invite Bobby Grossi, and he is the owner of Crumbl Cookies. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Best cookie place in town. Holy smokes.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm not sure other people would agree, but I think it's the greatest cookie place in town. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So tell us more about Crumbl and what makes it different.
I think you got to go back to the history of Crumbl a little bit. Jason and Sawyer were two brothers that founded Crumbl way back in, I always say way back in Utah, right? And so that's why if you notice we're not open on Sundays, it was a Mormon-based company, kind of like Chick-fil-A. So I know it hurts everybody. Everyone wants cookies on Sunday. We're not open on Sundays, but it's okay. It's the day of God's rest, so that's fine. But it was started by brothers, and they wanted to have the greatest chocolate chip cookie to share amongst family and create smiles. And so I'm a dentist by trade, which is funny. So people always ask me, how did you get into Crumbl Cookie and being a dentist? I'm like, it fits both needs, right? You get a smile on your face when you need a cookie, and you smile on your face in dentistry. But
job security.
Crumbl, yeah.
I see how this works.
But Crumbl Cookie, the reason why I think it's the world's greatest cookie, I mean, in fairness, and what makes us a little bit different is everything is fresh, right? Like, so you'll see competitors out there, whatever it is, and you'll get them, they're frozen, they heat them up in an oven, whatever. They might put them in a warmer, they might not. But yet everything is fresh. And so the uniqueness of Crumbl is that there's really 4 or 5 different ingredients in each cookie. Like it's the sugar, the brown sugar, the flour, like it's all made in the store. We get it shipped in. What people don't know about Crumbl, what makes it so unique and different, is that if we make the dough, we have 48 hours to sell the dough, right? So that's how fresh our stuff is. If we don't sell it in 48 hours, this is where the Livingston County community can come reach out to us if you want. We either have to bake the dough and donate it, or we have to discard the dough. So it's really a process, right? It's a unique process. Plus, if you bake, when you pull it out of the refrigerator, you have 90 minutes to bake the dough. If you don't bake the dough in 90 minutes, that dough's gone. If you bake the dough, you have 3 hours to sell it. So that's what makes everything so unique. Not only is the ingredients fresh, is the freshness of each cookie. And so that's why when people say, how come sometimes, it happens, right? Something might be underbaked. Okay, just reach out to us. Or if we're out of stock of something, it's not that we're out of stock. It's just that we have to now make it fresh. So that's kind of what makes Crumbl so unique.
Right, and that's so different because, so often we know what a hot, fresh cookie's like when we bake it at home, right? You always want it right when it comes out of the oven or fresh. But so often when you're going to the store and you're buying a cookie, you're at a shop, you're looking at the cookies, they may have been there for
terrible
2-3 days sometimes.
Yeah, nothing like yours. I mean, you guys, it was like just a whole nother experience. Yeah, gosh. And not only are they so delicious, they're huge.
They're a meal all of their own.
Yeah. I mean, definitely you can share them with 4 people for sure, right? That's why we have the cookie cutters. But I think the thing what really attracted me to Crumbl as well is it's all about customer service. And so it's about an experience. Like you just said, you mentioned an experience. I mean, yes, you could buy a cookie and you could eat a cookie and people like cookies, but what preservatives are in the cookies? What really is in that cookie? I mean, let's be honest. Like, let's say you eat, I'll pick a store brand so I'm not messing with competitors. Let's say you eat a Chips Ahoy cookie. Yeah. Well, normally you think brown sugar, chocolate chips, right? Yeah. There's probably 98 different ingredients in that cookie. We don't even know what it is. So is it a real cookie? Right? At least with this, And it's like you said, the freshness. There's nothing beats like, I always say I'm Italian, so my grandma's cooking. Crumbl Cookies cookie is the closest to some homemade cookie. Obviously it is homemade, but it's you eating it at home with your friends and family. And that's kind of the concept. You want people to smile with a warm cookie.
Right.
Yeah.
Not every cookie's warm, but
Right.
You know what I mean? But
exactly.
it's just I got into it for, like they said, to create that wow experience and the customer service of it all, and I loved it also.
When we bring them home, and we're going to talk about the box and all of that and everything, but you use that cookie cutter and you're sharing it with other people, and I was like, I'm going to have a little bit of this one. I'm going to have a little bit of this one.
Absolutely. You get to dabble in it all without feeling so bad, right?
Right. Exactly. And I know that we're going to focus in on that new Brighton location, but it's kind of exciting that you already had one from Fenton, and a lot of the food up in Fenton is phenomenal. And to be bringing some of that down here to Brighton is just awesome.
Well, what makes it why I'm from Flint area. My house is in the Fenton Linden area, so I knew if I was gonna build something and start something where I had to learn a craft, if you will, and learn the business, I wanted to be close to home because the hours are kind of crazy from 6 a.m. till it was midnight. Now on the weekends we close at 11, but 6 a.m. till 10 and then 6 a.m. till 11. That's a long time, plus I have another full-time job. So I had to master, before I came to Brighton,
right.
I had to learn how to truly master the cookie making process and baking process, right? And so it's 2 miles from my house, one in Fenton, and I'm like, okay, we got this going really well. Because I did have Brighton location to go in first. But I knew that in Brighton, Brighton's such a special town, and Livingston County is such a special town that I didn't want to make mistakes. And we still do. We're all human, and but I wanted to make it perfect. And the hardest part with the Brighton is finding the perfect location. Now it's a little bit different, but we need a big store. And my stores, and the one in Fenton and the one in Brighton, they're actually two of the biggest Crumbls in the nation. So that's kind of something cool. Always wanted to create that experience and that warm, welcoming experience. And so, yeah, I started in Fenton to master it, and I don't know if it's mastered yet, but it's close.
Okay.
And then bring it into Brighton. So
great. Yeah, this is still kind of newer, and we know there's a lot of people out there that haven't been into it. So that's why it was so important for us to make sure to get you in, and so that way our listeners can hear all about it. And
I appreciate that.
Right. So and I wanted to talk about flavors of cookies, because you guys have a little bit of uniqueness where your flavors rotate out. Mm-hmm. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So that's probably the most challenging part of Crumbl, right? Because when people say, how do you run out of stuff, right? So the good news is every Monday, well, Sunday night, you guys, I'm sure you'll see them on social media. There'll be the release of the new cookie flavors, right? So I'm not going to dive into all the specialties yet because I'm sure we'll ask deeper questions, but every Monday is the new 6 flavors, if you will. There's only one staple all the time, and that is the chocolate chip. So it's either going to be a milk chocolate chip or the semi-sweet, and they rotate. Now, the reason why they rotate now is they're the battle of the brothers. I talked about Jason and Sawyer. One likes semi-sweet, one likes milk chocolate. Our number one sellers are always milk chocolate. I'm not sorry about that, Jason. But the reality of it is that semi-sweet also comes in. And so there will be some form of chocolate chip always. Okay. And then you get to the unique flavors. And so it changes every week. And I think that's unique in Crumbl, in a sense that it's always keeping the client, if you will, the customer, guessing, what's the next week's flavors. That's kind of the cool thing, right? Yeah. And then now we're starting to dabble into other things, which I'm sure you're going to ask deeper questions about it. But every week, every Monday. Now, I will say this. If there are flavors left over for Saturday, yes, you can still get those flavors on Monday. As long as that dough is not, here we go, right, 48 hours old. Yeah. So that's where it gets unique, right? So there are sometimes you can get new flavors. And then on Mondays, we have this new thing we kicked off, which are mini Mondays. So people always says, well, the cookies are so big. Do you ever sell the mini cookies? Going forward, every Monday, it's called mini Mondays. So you can get minis on Mondays now.
That's cool.
Just perfect. Fewer calories that way, right?
It's less. You feel less guilty, right? Yeah. It's a perfect bite. Perfect bite, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
That is so cool. That's cool. So what outside of the chocolate chip though? What are some of your most popular flavors then?
I mean, this week's we got the pink sugar back, right? That was a staple too for a long time, and we got rid of it for a minute because sales were kind of going down, and we made a group as Crumbl. Hey guys, I think people are sick of the sugar cookie. Well, little did we know there's a cult of sugar cookie people. We didn't know that this was going to be the worst news ever. So when I opened the grand opening in Brighton, I got to pick a flavor. I put the pink sugar in there, and I was the only one in the state, which was really cool because I'm laughing. People are driving 2 hours just for my pink sugar cookie, which is dude, it's pink sugar cookie, right? Right. And then so a pink sugar is one of our mainstays. You had the new thing that came out last week, actually 2 weeks ago, but Brighton was the first location, was the cinnamon square, which was not really a cookie at all. It was a cake. So that's if you notice, Crumbl lost. If you see the logo now, Crumbl, it just says Crumbl. It doesn't say Crumbl cookies because we're starting to get into more desserts. Yeah. So even this week alone, you'll have the Tres Leches cake. That's actually a cake, it fits in a party pack of, I don't know if you know the flavors, obviously the 4-pack, the 6-pack, the 12-pack, the party pack, right? Right. Yeah. So the actual cake itself, which is the Tres Leches cake, is a chilled cake, actually fits in, it's as big as a 6-pack party box.
Oh, great. Okay.
So it actually would feed 10 to 12 people in it. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so but that's, I mean, there's look at the Galaxy Brownie last week was phenomenal.
Right,
People love that. The one of my all-time favorites is waffles. So if you like Belgian waffles, it's unbelievable. So like you have the natural butter, and then you have the syrup, and you have the waffle cookie. You have I can't tell you what's coming up, but we'll just say, hey, there's a buttermilk pancake cookie that's I obviously I like breakfast food, so you can tell I like the waffle, the buttermilk. But then you got blueberry. You have, I don't know if there's really a flavor that's the most unique that sells the most. I just think that it depends. Like if you like key lime pie, that cookie's phenomenal. But now if you notice, we came with the true key lime pie.
Yeah.
So like there's so many different things. We're getting into more of the dessert realms of it all. So, I mean, the kids love the confetti cupcake. That was last week's cookie, like the chilled one. So it just depends on where you're at, right? But I don't know. I mean, they're all good, man. The pumpkin pie is good. They're all good.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the nice thing on that is, again, you're coming in and you're able to get that chocolate chip, but you're getting these unique flavors.
Correct.
You know, and it's an experience, and it makes you want to come back every week and say, okay, what am I sampling this week?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And the frustrating though is it is frustrating because trust me, I love the cinnamon square. Like you tell me what is your all-time favorite thing ever at Crumbl? Like I've owned Crumbl now for 3 years. We've been open for business in Fenton and here about, here a few months, but 2 years in when it comes to the Fenton location. And I don't eat the cookies every week because I've had them all, right? Yeah. Cinnamon square, my wife will tell you, she laughs. I had 14 last week. Oh yeah, I know. It's terrible. It's a terrible, but that's my favorite thing. It's like, it's my favorite thing of all time. Now, my wife loves the key lime pie. Now, so it just depends on what you're, like you said, what you love.
So stock up when it's that week.
Yeah, then, right? You might want to stock up. Now, the good news is I listened to a lot of customers, and they said, I save mine for a week. Look, they're so fresh.
Yeah.
You're fine. I just, from a Crumbl freshness of it all, from a brand control protection, we're not allowed to sell them past their time. Could you eat them for a week? Sure. Nothing's going to happen to you, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Heat them back up, call it good.
Heat them back up, right.
Yeah. But just in terms of, right out of the gate, it's just remarkable how outstanding. And that comes, I'm sure, from the freshness.
Well, yeah, yes. And all the, like you said, we're making them in the store. How many people do you actually see making their own dough and balling their own dough? And you can see us when you come in. It is a cool experience. Now, sometimes we're not making it because we've already made it, but if you see people really cracking eggs and, balling the dough and making the dough, that experience alone is unique. And you don't see that all the time.
No, you don't.
You don't see that. It's like when somebody makes their own pizza dough, right? You can see them making it, you're like, oh, that pizza's fresh, right?
Exactly.
Or makes their bread dough. That's what makes it fun. So it's, there's other competitors and even that are within the area, but it's frozen dough. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Got you. So one of the things I was on the websites and looking around and everything and all that, and with the new cookies every week, you guys actually have subscription services to sign up to get cookies every week, don't you?
Yeah, there's loyalty programs too, right? So the cool thing is that the main, I didn't mention this, but the main people that started this was just like Chick-fil-A was a Mormon-based company. They're out of Utah. So what's cool about it is you kind of get loyalty for every $100 you spend. They believe in tithing, which is amazing. You get 10% back. So you get $10, like bang, like the minute you spend $100, you get $10. So, and it's really cool. There is other loyalty perks and all that stuff. You get discounts and you get when the new flavors come out, you have the ability to kind of vote on them and you can actually design flavors and give us ideas and we kind of take that feedback. So our customers truly dictate our cookies. And so if a customer's not happy with the flavor, we take all that into consideration and we try to tweak it. So whether we tweak the recipes, it's not the same every time. So we always get the feedback from our customers because we know not only every business, I mean, even in real estate, you guys are in real estate, it's your customers that feed you.
Right.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
We're feeding our customers, but we know it through Crumbl that it's our customers that are uniqueness in their own individuality and their own spin on it. That's really what's going to make us stand the test of time and be successful. So we take the feedback pretty well. And that's what being in the app and giving us feedback and how can we improve. And even if you give us a bad review, it happens, right? Well, why does it happen? Because we're all human and somebody relies on, we're going to talk about delivery service. Sometimes they don't get what they wanted in. Okay. How do you make it right? And that's cool. The uniqueness about us is not only do we want you as a client, but we want you as a client forever, and we want your feedback to make it better. So,
very cool.
No, that's the right way to do business.
Well,
honest
it's the only way to
goodness.
do business,
Yeah.
right? I think so.
Right.
You know, it's sustainable business. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know with us, you know, we don't make mistakes often, but when we do, we definitely, you know, stand by and take care of our clients. And it's all about doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know, we're all human and people give you some grace, but, you know, you've got to just be right about it,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Hit it head on.
Yeah.
100%.
Hit it head on.
Yep.
Honest to goodness. So you had mentioned about the delivery service. How does that all work?
Yeah, so that might be the most frustrating part of Crumbl, right? Because you have the DoorDashes, you got the Uber Eats and stuff like that, right? So we also have, I've offered 10 times to deliver it myself because I have the pink Crumbl Bronco y'all see driving around town. That's me. So you can yell at me. But unfortunately, you have a service that which is the DoorDash and Uber Eats. We need it to be competitive, but you're relying on them to get the cookies at a certain time. And if they don't get it, somehow I'm still responsible for it, which is fine. But that's the frustrating part, right? You have a third party now, and you hope that they deliver that pink box. You know, we talk about the box the way it should be. And, you know, there's people out there all the time that say they didn't get their cookies, they were cut in half. I don't know if that's possible. But we rely on DoorDash and Uber Eats. And even if that was the case, let's say somebody had a delivery service and for some odd reason they didn't get what they were promised. I don't know how that's possible, but let's say that's the case. We still make it right. It goes back to the customer is always right, and it is what it is. And you come to the store. Right. You come to the store and we'll make it right, you know. Right. And we try to even help them with if there's an issue with DoorDash or Uber Eats, we try to work through that. Really, it's a DoorDash Uber Eats issue, but we try to help them and we get in touch with them. But for the most part, our actually in Brighton location, which is amazing, we're like #1 in delivery service in the state of Michigan of all Crumbl. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Right. And you said you're open till 11 p.m. on the weekend.
On Friday and Saturday.
On Friday. Yeah. So do you get like that crowd that's coming in 10:30?
No, that's what's funny. We used to be open till midnight. And so in this town of Brighton, which is crazy, I don't know if y'all go to bed at 9. It's different than in Fenton. Now, it could be the location. You know, it could be where our location is, you know, by Bushes. And because that area of Brighton kind of closes down at a certain time where we're not by all the bars and the movie theaters and stuff like that. But I do find it unique that our sales drop dramatically from like 9:30ish to 11. So that's kind of the time. All right, let's just clean the store. Right. So we used to be open till midnight. So our hours have changed based on really customer demands. Now, don't get me wrong. Customers start coming in at 10:30 and I'll be back open till midnight. So
there you go.
Really, you guys can dictate what my hours are. So
I'll bet you in the summer because I remember, and I don't know if it's when you were open later or maybe not, but one of our teenage sons. Yeah, you know, it's like, oh, we're going to Crumbl, and I'm like, are they open? Oh yeah.
For the first 6 weeks, we were open till midnight, just like every one of them. But both of my locations right now, just for now, we stopped at 11. Now every quarter we're gonna reevaluate it. So if here we go again. If supply and demand at 11 o'clock at night and people want it, we'll be open. If you don't, we'll close.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing in Livingston County. Our son is in college. He's a freshman. He's out in Boston. He's coming back like a week and a half. I was having a conversation with him like a month ago. And he's like, Dad, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, because I could go out and get food at 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, that's not going to happen when you come home anymore. So, you know, but I'm sure he'll be heading down that way because he likes the cookies too. So
yeah, I mean, maybe we'll make some special accommodations. Just let me know. Can't be on Sunday. I mean,
there you go.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's all good, you know. And because we have another teenage son too, so it's like, you know, kids are looking for something fun to do that is out of trouble, right?
Right.
So that definitely.
They can get a job. That'd be a
good thing too, right?
That's true. They're doing some of that
there
too,
you go.
for sure.
So I was going to ask for like allergies health-wise for like health-minded people. Obviously, people don't think about I'm getting a cookie because they want to be healthy. They're getting a cookie because they want a cookie. But you guys have like your ingredients and that and all that online for people then.
We do, yeah. The hardest part, and this is where kind of a cliche of Crumbl, the problem with Crumbl is that everything is fresh. And so we're still trying to figure out how to get that gluten-free cookie that's fresh, we can make 300. Our dough that we make is about for 300, 400 cookies. The problem is we don't have a big demand of 400 gluten-free cookies. So then you throw away all your dough, right? And so we're working on it. So everyone says, are you going to get dough that can be cooked at home? It's work in progress, work in process that's still fresh enough. See, we have a demand that we're trying to uphold as far as the freshness and the quality of the brand. So I wish we had gluten-free stuff all the time. I really do. I know there's competitors that do that. Once again, it's not fresh. Now we are working on the process of, can I isolate an area in my store and create another oven that's strictly gluten-free? So we're working on it. It's just got to make sense from a practicality. Now, what we could possibly do, and we're still playing with this in other Crumbl locations as testing, is if we have a gluten-free section, if you pre-order the cookies, I was going to
say the pre-order,
we could bake them then and be a gluten-free, and we can work that out. It's a matter of let our customers speak. I mean, if our customers are saying, hey, this is what I need to come in your store, we're going to find a way to make it happen. But if it's only, in fairness, it's a supply and demand, right? If it's only 25 cookies that you're going to sell that are gluten-free, from a cost analysis point of view, it doesn't make sense. So it's like, because my butter, I always laugh, just my butter alone, if I told you the fee of my butter, you guys were like, seriously, dude? Like, no, seriously. Like it's that expensive, you know?
Right.
But so, yeah, I mean, but even if you have like a peanut allergy, if you had anything like that, minus the gluten-free stuff, it's all on there. All of our ingredients are on there. It's very, it's right in, you can ask, you can see it on our website, you can see it on your apps. So you know whether you should be eating it or not. And even if it is a peanut-based cookie, let's say you have a peanut allergy, we have 2 different ways of doing it. We have 2 different color spatulas. We have 2 different, my store, if you see a pink spatula that's out and not a black one, you know that pink spatula is only meant for peanut butter type based cookies. So even that is like color coded, pink, peanut butter, like it makes sense, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That is very cool.
And that little cutter that when we went in and got cookies with you guys, I mean, that's the most remarkable thing. That
it's fun. It's fun, right? It's like, wow, I'm gonna have my mini cookie right there, right? It looks like a pizza slice.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just, the cookie itself is huge, right? And then, we kind of put on the cutter and it just sinks right in because the cookie is so soft and awesome. And then it creates like these 3 huge wedges that are pretty much the size of a cookie itself, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then we were able to try each one.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is on that is like, I'm like, I'm not going to need a cookie cutter. No. Like, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to eat. No, I'm not going to eat a whole cookie at once.
My wife would challenge you. She used to pound them, but yes, I mean, she'd probably kill me for saying that. But yeah, she could eat a whole. But yes, there are unique individuals that have major talents of eating. Okay, right. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, the cookie cutter's the way to go if you could do it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, but it was just such a great experience, and so like we had gotten them and brought them back to the kids, and so that way we each had them, and I think there was biscotti, but I just love that the the flavors just always changing and something different. And
and if you like fresh blueberry muffins, like our cookie flavor this week, there's a blueberry one. It's phenomenal. I mean, I'm just telling you, like if you like, there's great stuff this week, but it's not. There's churro, there's this pink sugar, there's the blueberry one, there's the semi chocolate chip, there's the trailer shake cake. So I mean, I don't have all.
Well, by the time we're airing,
by the time you're airing, it's going to be something else. Now, just keep looking.
How often do they cycle through that? If someone falls in love with a cookie, I mean, are they going to have to wait months, a year, or never?
No, not a year, but months for sure.
Okay,
4 to 6 months for sure, probably.
Wow.
So that's why it's like if you like a flavor and you know it's out, like don't wait. Because you have the whole week, like I said, but you can't even assume we're going to have leftovers on Monday because we try to cut our costs, right? So we don't want a lot of leftovers. Right. We want our next week's flavors to be the top sellers, right? Not relying on over-baked cookies, you know what I'm saying? So if you see your flavor there, I'd highly recommend, even if it's not in my Brighton location or Fenton, go somewhere to Crumbl and get your flavor because it's good, We do have, like every store has a unique flavor that you can have, but for the most part, if it's in my store, it's in another Crumbl as well.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well, and the nice thing there is, someone that's their favorite flavor. It's like, oh, I've seen them 3 times this week. They must really like that one, right?
Yeah. And we get, the one thing I love about being in Brighton is when I'm there, I'm in the Brighton store more right now than I'm in Fenton, but the people, like when I talk to and engage with the people, there's just, not that the Fenton store is not there because it is there, but especially when I'm in the store, the genuality and the authenticity of the people that come into Brighton and how cool it is to, when you can start to open up and you open up who you are and they start opening up who they are. Like there's that power of that exchange of, wow, this is a really cool community, and you don't, when, it's so many times people, I think when I'm in there, what I love, and I'm trying to teach even my young managers and young people that are in there, open yourself up to the customer, right? Become a part of their life. And hey, why did you order this cookie? Like, why is this your favorite? Like little small conversation pieces like that go such a long way, right? And I'm like, man, let them in on your life. You know, what are you doing? And the more I start, you know, hey, this is who I am. You know, they'll see my custom Jordans that say Crumbl cookies or whatever, and I'll see that, oh, you must play football or you must do this, and just start talking more than a sale. That's when it becomes something bigger, and that experience you talk about becomes unique. Because at the end of the day, money's great, and people buying cookies are amazing, but it's really about what are you doing in the community? Who are you? What do you represent? You know, what do you stand for? And who are you as a person? Like that's what people really want to know, because that's what they buy.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
They buy your brand, right? They buy who you are. They buy you guys are real estate agents, and you know there's a gabillion of them just in probably Livingston County. But why you? It's because of the unique experience that you give them, right? And you let them in, and it's no different than whether you're selling cookies or you're selling cars. Or the more you can let them into your life and let them know who you are, the greater success you'll have. So.
Honest to gosh.
Mic drop moment on there.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
A little bit deeper than cookies. I'm sorry. But
Well, and a lot of our listeners are small business owners, right? You know, and there's lots of podcasts that people can listen to and so forth. I love that we have this connection to the local side of things, because I do feel like Livingston County has this culture that is really phenomenal. And there's been, whether it's people moving into the county and kind of learning all about it, you know, we definitely want to still keep up that culture, but there's others, we've been here 20 years, you know, and there's always something, you know, happening in Livingston County, and to learn and know, and what else of like, boy, you know, I never even knew that you could get delivery for Crumbl. Like I just haven't been on that side of town, so I haven't stopped by, but well, when I'm really needing a cookie, maybe I can still get one anyway. You
Absolutely. Know? And, you know, the one thing that we knew, this had to be our second location. We wanted it our first. And going back to Brighton, is that this is kind of like our second home. I think when you guys came to my grand opening and we talked, and it's like this community, this town, you know, I used to, full circle, when I was 21 years old, before I went to dental school, I was a Coca-Cola sales rep. And so I remember what Brighton was. Like I remember, man, like next to Cohocton, and you're like going to Brighton. I'm like, dude, there's like Grand River. I had like a few stops, and now it's like, look at this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at what the community's done. Look at how well you guys are, and how dynamic you are, and, you know, culturally diverse, and just the beautiful, like you somehow Brighton kind of kept this small town feel, but it's kind of big. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at it, it kind of kept this home feel, and it's like, man, like what a better place to be in a business and start a business than Brighton. So that's why I knew it had to be here. Right? I mean, I could have picked any city in Michigan, but I knew it had to be here, and so that's why I'm blessed to be here.
That is so cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got kids in Howell and in Brighton, but they all
Howell's cool too, but Brighton's pretty darn
exactly.
unique.
Exactly. But they'll travel.
Yeah.
Like Crumbl is Crumbl.
Now I wish I could have did Howell too, but I can't. They got so many miles of areas you can do.
Right. But no, I mean, you guys have a great location over there. It's easily noticeable. I mean, you're easily noticeable around town. You got a nice pink Bronco.
Pink Bronco, yeah. Yes. So if I cut you off, I'm sorry. It is me. I'm probably looking. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
But like even like the boxes, like it was so exciting to be like, okay, we got our cookies, and it's like, you know, almost like just opening a package.
That's like the Tiffany's box, right?
Yes,
it's like the blue box or whatever in jewelry. It's like they did a great job with the pink box. I mean, if you walk in with a pink box, like you feel like you're like a celebrity all of a sudden. Like, man, the pink box. But yeah, it's cool. Crumbl's got a lot of things coming up in the pipelines, and it's fascinating on how we're trying to evolve the whole. We wanted to have the best cookie ever. Crumbl's mission now is how do we make the best desserts? And there's a little sneak peek of what might be coming down the pipelines, right? Desserts.
Right. Well, we're going to have to come check out some of those cakes.
No doubt. In terms of, you had mentioned some of the cakes and whatnot. So that's kind of the next step. Now, what does that sort of look like?
So we kind of did a soft launch with the Cinnamon Square. The Cinnamon Square actually came out when the Lions, God love the Lions. We love the Lions.
Yeah.
When the Lions were in the NFC Championship game, we kind of did a soft launch, and it was really successful. And then last week, the Cinnamon Square was back again. And we had the Trayless Shade to follow it right up. Now, though, what we did is it was a little mini cookie, you could get it. It would fit into like a single box, right? And those were a huge success. But people liked them so much. They're like, but I want to be able to share this now. It was kind of hard to share it because it was more of an individual cake.
Right.
And so now what we're like, well, what will people do with the full-fledged big cake, right? So it's all unique. It's fresh. The cost we're working on. So if the cost seems high, like I think it's like $28 or something for a full cake. It is. It's probably expensive for a cake. But with that said is you need to try it because I guarantee you the freshness and the softness and the uniqueness you'll never have, right? Because we're literally making that right there. Even if we make the batter for it, right? If it does not sell in 24 hours, we have to discard it. So when I say you're making it to fridge to bake it, like you literally have to sell it that fast. So it's unique. So if you want a cake, I'm going to tell you, we only have like 12 in stock. So you might want to tell us, hey, we want one. We can fire one up and get it done for you. But it's to me, I'm a cake guy, even more than cookies. I think they're the greatest things I've ever eaten, truthfully. And I'm not a big true story. I'm not a big sugar guy, right?
Wow.
Like my kids are, my wife was, and I'm not a big sugar guy. I don't eat a ton of sugar, but I do love the cakes. I do love the cakes.
That is so cool. And I know people for parties and such, they want something different.
Correct.
Right? I mean, nothing against a Costco cake. A Costco cake is great, but I've been to 100 birthday parties and had a Costco cake.
Correct.
It's having, just like the cookies, it's walking into a party and there's something different there. There's that new taste. It's you're getting something fresh and it's good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And I mean, and like you said, it's just I've never seen somebody walking in with a Crumbl cookie box at any party, even if it's a party I'm not at, that people weren't happy.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's exciting.
Right. It's exciting. And they're like, man, these taste so good. They really do. They really do. And even if it's a day old, like I always tell people, we have our limitations, but don't get mad. If you like a flavor you talked about, like, okay, so buy 12 of them and stock up and heat them back up or eat them cold. It doesn't matter. And
it's so easy to heat them back up.
Yes.
They taste just as fresh again, for us, the untrained person, that they're very good.
Yeah. And then I know the one thing we haven't touched on, and I think I've seen it before, is catering. Like I get asked this a lot of, what do you do with the catering? What is the best way to do the catering? Obviously, you can do the big size cookies. There are discounts. Weddings, project graduations. I'm just giving good examples. Any confirmation parties, whatever. Minis tend to be the most popular as far as the catering part of it, right? Why? Because a rough average is about $1.89 a cookie. I mean, that's the way to think about it. So you need 200 cookies. You're going to get they're still fresh. I mean, they're literally made just like the big cookies. You got your frostings. The only thing that sometimes is different from a mini is if it's that cake cookie, right? Like, or the cinnamon square. You can't really make that in a mini. You can still get it, but there are some limitations. But what we did to kind of combat that is, let's say you have a flavor, let's say like sugar cookies not on our rotating menu this week. Well, there's like 16 minis that you can choose from as a catering that we can get ahead of time to make it. So if you give us 3 or 4 days for your order and you want a unique flavor, we can get that in the store and make that for you. That's something that's new too. It used to be just whatever the 6 cookies were we had to make. Yeah. Now we can look up and there's like 15 to 18 to 22 to choose from, and now we can get those orders.
Fantastic.
So
cool. Because that way for a catering thing, they can preset, these are what we're going to be having.
Correct.
Which is great.
And like you might say, well, how do I place the order? Like today, if the flavors aren't out, all you got to do is we just call the store. If you struggle with that, we can place the order for you and we can write down. We know the flavors coming out before you know. So we can't technically tell you, but we know. Let's just say awesome. we know what to look for.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes it handy. This is great. We've learned so much about what's going on over there at Crumbl.
Wonderful. Is there anything else we missed?
Not with Crumbl, but I'm a motivational guy, and so I like to leave people with this, and especially you said small business people. One thing I love, the reason why I endorse Crumbl is Crumbl represents who I am as a person, right? It's all about customer service. It's about community. It's about cleanliness. It's about giving back. It's about creating an experience in people's lives that they might not be able to be a part of, right? So just like you do in your real estate, and it's these small business people that are hopefully listening, or if it's a small little kid listening to this podcast, or Livingston County, or wherever it is, make sure whatever you do represents who you are as a person. It represents your brand. It represents everything you stand for. because people watch and people see how you behave and how you act. And so if it's something you're not into, don't do it at all. If it's something you say you're committed to, then be exactly that. Be committed to what you do. I always tell people commitment doesn't know time, it makes time. And so if you want to be a great husband, be committed to your wife. If you want to be a great wife, be committed to your husband. If you want to be a great father, be committed to your kids, and vice versa. Whatever you decide that you want to be, nobody's going to hand it for you. It's going to come with hard work. It's going to come with discipline. It's going to come with commitment. And it's to come to you becoming the brand that you want people to see. If you can live the life that way, you'll be successful. Wow. Not Crumbl. That's a little bit different.
Right. Outstanding. Thank you, Bobby. Man, that was really inspirational.
Thank you.
It was. No, we really appreciate you coming. And to everyone listening out there, please stop by Crumbl. They are open every day but Sunday.
Correct.
So come in, check them out, get a cookie. You'll end up getting a box of cookies. You might come in thinking you're getting one. You're going to end up walking out with more than one.
Now, here's the cool thing. And now I don't know when this is going to air, but I'll say this, and I'm going to mention this. I'm going to do this a live advertisement on the air. If you mention this podcast when you come into Crumbl, that you heard it through the podcast, I will give anybody that walks in that door a free cookie. There you go.
Wow.
Mention the podcast.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much. That's fantastic. Great. And our listeners, I hope you guys enjoyed it today. This was an outstanding interview. It was really nice to get to know Bobby and Crumbl.
Yep. So please check it out. Check out his Facebook page, his socials. You can find out what the flavors are coming up for that week. And please like and subscribe.
Great.
So thank you so much. Welcome to Livingston.